Hey guys, as you know, in the recent patch, the skill Siphoning Strikes has received a huge nerf. And in this video, I want to explain and try to explain um, how big this nerf really was and what amount of healing you can expect now from the skill compared to before the patch. And I want to try to explain this by visualizing this first and maybe show you some calculations later. So here I have a paint document I just created, and you can see in the middle here is our rogue. So this is our character, and we are playing with twisting blades. So the most common cutthroat skill that most rogues uses, and we are playing with twisting blades. And let's imagine that we are surrounded by 5 enemies, okay? So we are in a close combat situation with 5 enemies, at least 5 enemies around us. So if we want to calculate the exact amount of healing we receive from the new Siphoning Strikes, so maybe I need to show you how Siphoning Strikes works now. So before it was you just needed to critical strike your enemies. So each critical strike would give you 3% of your maximum life. And now they changed it to a lucky hit, so you need to first proc a lucky hit, and then you have a chance up to 75% to proc the healing of 3%, okay? So we first need to understand how lucky hit works. Each skill has an own unique lucky hit chance. So if you look at Twisting Blades, it says you have a lucky hit chance of 33%. And this means every time that your skill hits an enemy, you have this amount of lucky hits. And then you have some gear, for example, on your gloves, you can have additional lucky hit chance up to 16.5%. And this will further increase your lucky hit chance. And later I will show you like how important it really is to have some lucky hit chance on your gear, or if it's not important at all. Because on your rings, for example, you also can have up to 9% lucky hit chance. So yeah, these are the basics for now, and I will show you how exactly this works. So each skill has a very unique interaction with lucky hits, and Twisting Blades, for example, have like several hitting situations where they hit enemies and where lucky hit can proc. So for example, if you're attacking with Twisting Blades, then what happens first is you impale your enemies. So the first attack of Twisting Blades will always impale your enemy, so you just hit your blade in this enemy, and after some time, so after 1.5 seconds I believe, this blade will just return to you, okay? And if you're playing with the unique aspect, so it's called the Blade Dancer's aspect. So this aspect says that your twisting blades orbit for a short time after they return to you and deal some additional damage. And in this case, so they will return and orbit around you. And I think this orbiting, if you can call it like this, at least will hit the same enemy 2 times, okay? So they will orbit for like 2 times. And this enemy here, so the first enemy, this means we first impale it. Secondly, it will get hit by the returning blade. And then it will get hit a third and fourth time by the orbiting blades. So with one cast of Twisting Blades, we get up to 4 hits to one enemy, okay? This is important to understand. Because, wait a second, I need to look up some numbers. Because you need to understand the exact amount by which this enemy will get hit by our lucky hit chance. So this means, let's say our lucky hit chance is 0.37%. This is made up by 0.33, so 33%. This is 37%. So 33% is our lucky hit chance from twisting blades, as you can see here, lucky hit chance. And if we are wearing gloves, which provide us, let's say, 16%, okay, this means that this 16% will just get multiplied with the 33%. So 33% multiplied by 1 what did I say, 16%, okay? And I can check this in my calculator, and this should give you 0.338. So like this, and this is about, yes, 37%, so we can also make this with 38. Whoa, oh my god, this is ugly. Okay, let's delete this. But okay, let's assume this is 37%. If this would be 15, then I think this should be 37. So now we can say, okay, we hit this enemy 4 times. Yeah, at least 4 times. So what this basically means is we can just multiply this by 4, and this will lead into this number here. Into this number here, 1.76. Okay, so what this means is we have 1.76 lucky hit procs from one attack to one enemy. But as I have illustrated here right now, let's say we have 5 different enemies. So what happens then is, if the return of the first blade does not hit any further enemies, then we can say at least this orbiting these blades, this will at least hit these enemies 2 times. Because like I said, the returning blade orbits for about 2 times. And then if we calculate this, we get a different number. So let's say we have this number here, and then we say we hit 5 enemies. So yeah, 5 monsters. Then we can apply some formula on this one, and basically what we need to calculate is we are hitting each enemy 2 additional times by this orbiting blade. So 2 times our lucky hit chance. So for example here, this one. So 2 times this, and we have 4 enemies, so multiplied by 4. So a little bit more complicated here, but we get 5.28 procs this way for hitting all of the 5 enemies at once with one cast of Twisting Blades. Okay? And so what we need to do now is we use this number here, and we say, okay, the nerfed version of Siphoning Strike says we have a 75% chance to heal after the lucky hit. So we need to multiply this by 7.5, and then we get our new number, which is 3.96 procs. Oh, sorry, actually, I just realized I used a different number. Sorry, this should be 4. And this should be 3. Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay, and now what we need to do now is this only works if we critical strike. So you need to use your own critical strike chance. For me, this should be around 60% if I consider all of my skills and gear and stuff. And now we get 2 healing procs for each cast. Okay? So, but if So this is like the base proc after one attack. And if we want to know how much healing do we get per second, then we need to multiply this number with our maximum life. So 3% of our maximum life. For my case, this is 355 life. So we multiply this, and also we need to multiply it by our attack speed modifier. So how many attacks do we get per second? In my case, this should be about 1.92 attacks per second. So basically nearly 2 attacks per second. And this formula will give us our total amount of healing. And this should be 1362. So after the patch, after the nerf, for my build with my stats and healing and so on, I can expect to be healed about 1362 life on average every second, okay? If I attack at least 5 enemies around me with my twisting blades. And before the patch, things were much easier. And like maybe I can use a different color here. So before the patch, all you had to calculate was your critical strike chance. So for example, you have 0.6% critical strike multiplied by your life again, multiplied by your attacks. But instead of this number here, you would just multiply it by 12. And this is simply considering all hits here without the lucky hit, okay? So like 4 hits from the first enemy, 2 hits from the second, 2 from the third, 2 from the fourth, and 2 from the fifth. All these together get the number 12. So 12 hits, basically. And you would get a much higher number, much larger number. And this would be about 4,908 life per second. So you can see, yeah, it's pretty huge nerf actually. So if you were wondering how big of a difference is it after the patch, so it's quite a big difference. And we can also say, like, in percentage wise, this number here compared to the old number is minus 200. Oh my god, what is happening here? Minus 260%. So yeah, quite a huge nerf here. But it's still worth it if you're playing some endgame content, and even maybe with leveling, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's not as good as before, but I would say it's still worth it. You still need this healing. But this number might help you to compare maybe some of the alternatives that we have with some of the legendary aspects. So, for example, there is like this aspect which also got buffed. I just need to look it up here. I'm not sure how it's called. I think it's not an offensive aspect. It's more like a utility one, maybe. So, heal, yeah, like here. Explosions from Victimize Key can heal you up to a maximum of 1,200 life. So this is very similar to Siphoning Strikes now. And also there should be a here aspect of Stolen Vigor. So this aspect heal you up to... Actually, I think this is the old number still. This should be buffed to 800 life, something like this. Or 500 life, I'm not sure, but it should be much higher. And I think in total, this also provides now about 1,500 life per, like in total for 3 momentum key stacks. So some of these new aspects, which got buffed in the recent patch, are quite a nice alternative for Siphoning Strikes, actually, since it's just so much less healing than before. And now maybe I can also show you my calculation. So here, this was this was my calculation where I got my numbers from. And here you can compare different lucky hit chance. So right now we did here the right side with 0.37% lucky hit, so 37% lucky hit chance. And if you also wear rings with 9% lucky hit chance each, and you could also wear the unique dagger, it's called like Anshan dagger, I believe, which gives you additional 16% critical, 16% lucky hit chance, then you would go up to 44 lucky hit chance. And here you can compare the numbers, like this is the important number here. So with the exact method as I just showed you here, you would go from 1362 life, you would increase your healing to 1619 life. So it's a bit, but not too much. And in order to reach this lucky hit amount, so 44% lucky hit chance, you need to also wear rings and the unique dagger with even more lucky hit chance, okay? So is this really worth it? I'm not sure. I would say not really. The gloves are just enough, I think. And also I did the same for the exposure, like for the exposure passive. So I'm playing a poison rogue build with exposure passive. And here it says you have 25% chance with lucky hits to proc this passive. And here you can also say that, okay, what is the difference between 37% lucky hit chance and 44% lucky hit chance? The difference is not so big. So with 37% lucky hit chance, you will have about 1.11 procs if you attack 5 enemies with Twisting Blades. So just like with in my example, you have 5 enemies around you, you attack, you cast one cast of Twisting Blades. Then you will proc this exposure passive like one time for each attack, and with 44% lucky hit chance, you will proc it like 1.32 of every time. So it's not a big increasement here. And basically what this just shows you is 37% lucky chance is basically enough to basically proc this your passive all the time. And yeah, this is the small conclusion I gave you here as well. But yeah, you can see the Siphoning Strikes passive is not as good as before, but still quite useful. So here you have the numbers. Maybe this will help you. And I see you in the next video, guys. So thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.